Hi there, welcome back to my views and news. Two news stories. First one is about some Fano commanders who were interviewed last night by Ethio 360 journalists. A broad alliance is emerging among Fano commanders, but some are still not on board. Some still are not part of discussions, or they don't want to be part of discussions. Secondly, referendum in disputed territories between Tigray and Amhara region. Is it a solution? Aganeho Tishagar, former Amhara regional president, now serving as the Speaker of House of Federation, spoke about referendum in disputed territories. What did he say? Who is hindering the holding of referendum in these territories? What did he say? He sent a message to the government, though he's part of the government. Firstly, viewers, Ethio 360 people interviewed some Fano commanders last night. Ethio 360, several YouTube channels have been blocked so far, but they keep on emerging on new YouTube channels. These days they are on Ethio 360 Studio 8. Ethiopian government is after them. Mass reporting is done, and obviously they do cross boundaries, so it is easy to report them. And that would happen, that their content is reported and YouTube blocks their channels. Now, the Ethio 360 journalists have interviewed Fano commanders from Wollo. More than a week ago, they interviewed Skandar Naga and Zameen Ekasi. Audio interviews. And Skandar and Zameen Ekasi announced to work together. Skandar apologized to Amhara people. He said there was no time to be lost. So that is why all should unite, otherwise all will suffer. Zameen Ekasi also agreed to work with Skandar. Though I reported about on the ground situation from Gujam, both are from Gujam, Zameen Ekasi and Skandar. I told you that field operations are in the hands of former ASF commanders who are part of Fano. Skandar has no say in conducting of operations. Same is the case largely with Zameen Ekasi. Zameen Ekasi has more experience, battlefield experience than Skandar, but Zameen Ekasi is not obviously fit for leading this defensive and offensive campaign by Fano fighters against Ethiopian National Defense Force. So Skandar and Zameen Ekasi united. And then we were waiting for other Fano groups that are they going to join or not. Now, Ethio 360 interviewed two colonels who are part of a Wollo Fano faction, Colonel Fantahun Muhabao and Colonel Mogas Zigai. The two agreed to work with Skandar and Zameen Ekasi. They appreciated what Skandar and Zameen Ekasi said. And they talked about their achievements too. They called for unity. They said, Colonel Fantahun said that there are still some Fano groups which are operating on their own, which should not happen. All should unite. Now, Skandar, Zameen Ekasi, Fantahun, Zigai. Both Fantahun and Zigai, they are part of the same Wollo Fano faction. So these three have united now. Can we say that it means that a broad alliance has emerged among all Fano commanders? It's difficult to say now, because just a few days ago we heard from Mere Vutajo, East Amhara Fano commander. He said there are no Amhara Popular Front, Skandar Naga's presence, Skandar Naga group's presence in the area where he is operating. He said he had not been consulted about the formation of Amhara Popular Front. Is Mere Vutajo on board regarding this alliance? We don't know. So let's wait for him to speak. And if you remember, he criticized fundraising abroad by David Georgius, who is raising funds, collecting funds on behalf of Amhara Popular Front. And Mere Wodajo said that the funds were not reaching East Amhara Fano fighters. Let's wait for South Gondar, North Gondar Fano factions response to, and Shoa Fano's response. Shoa Fano, I think, supported Amhara Popular Front of Skandar Naga a few months ago. Shoa Fano could be on board. Let's see how East Amhara Fano, North South Gondar Fano respond to Skandar, Zamine Kasi, Fantahun, Mogazigai allies. Still, a lot needs to be done. Problem is that it's difficult for these Fano fighters to meet. You need discussions to reach some consensus, some agreement. And sometimes discussions take time. These Fano fighters, these Fano commanders fighting for their lives as well. How can they meet? They can only meet through virtual means. That is the only option possible. They cannot organize a physical meeting. I think they should appoint representatives. That is the way forward. Each Fano commander should appoint a representative. The representatives should meet in Amhara, outside Amhara, or outside Ethiopia. And they should appoint some central level spokespersons too, who can talk to the government, the media, diplomats, etc. So effort is being made, but so far it's too early to say that all Fano groups have united, all Fano commanders have united. Vandahun a few weeks ago told us that he was consulting all the groups and that Fano groups were being turned into an army. Then we saw Skandar and Zamine Kasi, they acknowledged their differences, but they agreed to work together. Now Fantahun and Mogazigai joined them, but still other Fano factions were waiting for response from them. Secondly, viewers, Wolkait, Humera Sagede, Western Tigray, Koram, Raya, Alamata, Southern Tigray, disputed territories between Tigray and Amhara regions. Both regions have their claims to these two zones. No solution, no agreement has been reached so far. Tigray wants start of political dialogue to determine the status of these areas, to start the return of IDPs from Tigray to these two zones. Amhara region is ready, but it wants referendum to be held. A few weeks ago, we heard from Amhara regional government spokesperson saying that preparations were underway to hold referendums in areas where people had questions of identity and border. He did not mention the names of areas. Two areas, obviously everyone knows, southern and western zones. Now, Aganeho Tishagar, Ethiopian House of Federation Speaker, has spoken about this issue of referendum. Aganeho Tishagar is former Amhara regional president. When Tigray forces entered Amhara region, he was leading the Amhara region as president, and Tigray forces swept across Waghemra, North Wollo, South Wollo, North Shoa. And then they were stopped and they had to retreat. Again, Tishagar was replaced after that, and Musa Yilkal Kifale took office, who was replaced by Araga Kabede a few weeks ago. Again, Tishagar was elevated to the federal level. He was elected as the House of Federation Speaker. And we know that a few months ago, governments, interim governments in Raya, they sent a petition to the House of Federation with more than 100,000 signatures, asking House of Federation to order a referendum in southern zone, Raya Lamata quorum to determine the status of this area. That petition is pending with House of Federation. House of Federation will obviously forward this petition, approve this petition and forward it to the National Election Board, which will make preparation for referendum. We don't know if any group has submitted a petition for the holding of a referendum in Wolkait. But about Raya and quorum, a petition was submitted a few months ago. House of Federation has not made a decision. But Ethio Tishagar spoke yesterday about the proposal of holding a referendum. He said, House of Federation is ready to hold referendum in disputed territories. It's up to the government to talk to those parties who are obstructing the holding of a referendum. So, the speaker, Ethio Tishagar, is asking Ethiopian federal government to convince Tigray government or force Tigray government to agree to holding of a referendum in the two zones, or he did not mention the name of zones. But I think he received petition about referendum in one zone, and that is quorum Raya Lamata. Tigray has been opposing the idea of referendum. Tigray says both western, southern zones are part of Tigray. They have been annexed by Amhara forces, and Tigray wants its territories back. And Tigray, before referendum, before any solution, wants the return of IDPs, because no referendum can be held if people of these two zones are not in their areas as they were expelled when the war broke out 2 years ago. But return of IDPs not starting, despite announcements from General Sadkan, others. They had announced a few months ago that the return of IDPs is going to start soon. Then we saw start of armed escalation, resistance movement in the Amhara region, and that led to delay in the return of IDPs to the two disputed territories. So Ethio Tishagar is pressing the government to convince, pressing federal government to convince Tigray interim government to agree to the idea of holding of a referendum. Tigray government so far has not agreed. Let's see. We are seeing that Tigray a few days ago issued a statement, joint statement by the TPLF chief, Debretsion, and Tigray interim president Getachew. Both urged federal government to implement Pretoria deal, to start discussions about critical issues, including the fate of these territories. It means both sides are starting to speak. We could see some progress towards progress or tensions towards the dispute between Tigray and Amhara over disputed territories. Thank you for watching.